from Houston right now, but from Chicago, is Joe Boland, Chief Mission Officer for the Catholic Extension Society. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you very much for having me.
Hi,
We're
Joe.
glad you could join us on this Friday morning. Remind our viewers briefly, Joe, about what Catholic Extension does and where you serve in the U.S.
Yeah, so we're a national Catholic organization. We've been around for 120 years. And Catholic Extension's mission, it's very simple. Build up the church, build up vibrant Catholic faith communities among the poor and in the poorest regions of the country. We've been doing that now for decades. And we do that in regions of the country that many people don't necessarily know about, but where the faith is strong, in places like Native American communities or the Deep South or Appalachia or Puerto Rico. Many of these communities across the country that need help. And that's why Extension exists. And those are the communities that we've been so privileged to be able to support over the years.
It is inspiring, Joe. It's precisely in communities like those you mentioned where you've taken pastors like myself for the Mission Immersion Program. And since 2018, I have to ask you, how many pastors like myself and Father Hickey and Father Laughlin and others who joined us, how many pastors have participated and how many dioceses are part of this effort?
Yeah. So you guys were part of the inaugural trip, believe it or not, 2018. You were trendsetters. And since that time, we have had 600 priests from
Wow.
85 dioceses,
That's
85
shocking.
dioceses join us on these experiences. So thank you for getting the ball rolling.
Well, thank you, because it was a real eye-opener for me to meet and to see and to be with families, young people, those struggling at the border, and to see how the church is helping them to become accustomed to life in the United States and with all of their various struggles and their joys. It was just really an eye-opener, so I thank you.
Yeah, you're part of history.
Hey, well,
You're now
can I
part of
say?
history. Well, but what has been the response, Joe, from the pastors, and what has the impact been on them? Do you get much of that?
Absolutely. You know, it's eye-opening. I have to tell you, we have some priests that have actually told us that being part of this has changed their priesthood because they gained new perspective. Now, you would think that going into poor communities, that might be something dispiriting. You'd say, why would we be going, into these places where maybe they don't have a church or they have very few resources or, maybe not even a full-time priest to care for them. But it's precisely in those places where you find people of just tremendous faith, unbelievable strength of their families, the beauty of their communities, of their culture, all coming together and living out their faith to the best of their ability. And that provides new perspective, and it opens up the eyes of these priests who are coming from more urban and suburban dioceses to see another side of the church. And it's something that can be renewing and refreshing to their own priesthood.
I know that to be very true. And we're fortunate here. I'm fortunate because we can share with people the good work of Catholic Extension and bring you on the show occasionally. But after going on these trips, how many of the pastors remain involved with Catholic Extension in some way?
So really, it's a number that we've kind of tracked closely. We like to remain in touch with our alums as we do with you. But really, I would say the vast majority of priests in some way maintain a connection with Catholic Extension, continue to read about the communities that they've visited and maybe other places that we work with. But the other thing that's happening too is they're also getting their parishes involved. And actually, in a majority of these cases, many of these pastors will have educational seminars. They want the refreshing and renewing experience that they had to be shared with their parishioners. And so they might do something like a Lenten appeal. It's Lent right now, and so parishes across the country are engaging their parishioners in campaigns to raise support for the economically less fortunate through Catholic Extension. But it's something that's meant to really enliven the parishes, and so it's really it's an expression of what it means to be a universal church, and for us as Catholic Extension Society to be the connector, it's a wonderful privilege for us.
One of the things that I'm very excited about in terms of Catholic Extension's work is the help that you give to bishops and dioceses that are struggling? Because there are dioceses that just don't have the resources to do the things, say, we can in the Archdiocese of Boston and care for people like you do. Isn't that the case that you really support dioceses in the United States also, and bishops?
Absolutely. And everything that we do is with and through the local bishop. And we couldn't do our work if it were not for the close and strong collaboration that we have with bishops across the country. And many bishops who are in dioceses, where, as I mentioned, they have great faith, they just don't have the resources. And that's why Catholic Extension does exist and has always existed, to be able to walk with them, partner with them. And really, what's beautiful is we're not just giving something to them, we're receiving something as well in return. We're learning what it means to be a missionary church. That kind of, when you strip away some of the institutions and resources, it's just the Catholicism at its core. And so we really refer to them as the teaching church, and that we can really learn from their experience. And part of our job at Catholic Extension Society is to help raise awareness of these beautiful faith communities across the country that are very missionary and teaching us something about what it means to be Catholic.
Well, Joe, it's really been a pleasure to have you. How can viewers support Catholic Extension's work?
I would encourage anybody to just go to our website at catholicextension.org, and they can find some of the amazing stories and places, very places that Bishop Reed visited all those years ago, and understand a little bit more about the work that we do and how they can help.
Well, thank you so much. I have to say, Bishop Reed looks exactly the same. He hasn't changed after all those years. There you have it.
There you go.
Joe, thanks so much for being with us, and to have a safe trip back to Chicago.
Thank you so much.
God bless,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Happy Lent.